The following podcast contains opinion and commentary protected by the First Amendment and fair use. It may also contain adult themes, adult concepts, and adult language not suitable for children. Viewer discretion is advised.
He struts in silk ties and courtroom deceit, with a grin that don't blink when he lies through his teeth. Once played the lawyer, now plays the fool. Got a taste for danger and bends every rule. He took Laura's hand, said, "I'll make you a queen." But they danced through indictments behind the legal machine. A felon's affection, a scandalous vow, their headlines in motion. Just look at them now. Oh, Daddy, you taught me to twist and deny, to smile while the truth just passes me by. I learned from the best, your ethics are foul. I'm a real criminal now. His license got clipped, just a slap on the wrist. He's kissed more subpoenas than lips he's missed. He cries free speech while the courtroom burns, but justice keeps count and karma returns. You said, "Don't worry, sweetheart, they never catch up." Now I sip lies like gin from a tarnished cup. Twist and deny, to laugh while the innocent wave us goodbye. You made me your mirror, ain't you so proud? Look at me, Daddy, I'm a real criminal now.
Welcome, everyone, back to your favorite cubbyhole on the internet. We are at the end of the weekend, and Monday is upon us. Unfortunately, for those of us who work on Monday, it is what it is. The noise you hear in the background is the cubbyhole cooler doing its job. We are having a heat wave here in the Emerald City, and, well, when you've got air conditioning and there's a heat wave and there's an extreme heat advisory through the middle of next week, we use the air conditioning. So never mind the noise. It is what it is. We come to you today with quite a number of things. We will start with the San Francisco Press being as obnoxious, and they still have the kid gloves on with Ron Owens. Although this does come from the San Francisco Chronicle. I'm not sure who's going to be first to the watering hole when it comes to talking about San Francisco legend Ron Owens and his daughter and her 7 felony counts, but this is one of the first, I think. Or it's at least towards the first. This was published yesterday, allegedly in the San Francisco Chronicle. It's here on Press Reader. because that's how we found it for free. We like things for free when we can find them. There they are. This is actually written by Zara Ershad. And again, it's from August 23rd. This has much of the same things we have already heard, some of the details about Chapter 13 bankruptcy filing from Ron Owens and Jan Black. Alleged, well, I think one of them is more of a radio star than the other. I think the other was just around and just happens to suckle off some of that stardom by being married to Ron, but that's another story for another day. And the title of this is rather innocuous, unlike some of the better ones, like the one Megan Fox read the other day. I think it was from Mercury News, or maybe it was Daily Mail. One of the two, maybe both. All this one says is ex-radio hosts file for Chapter 13. Well, not much mention of Laura yet. Why aren't we surprised? We're going to be very hands-off in San Francisco because they think they owe him loyalty for reasons that make no sense to me. It says former Bay Area radio personalities Ron Owens and Jan Black have filed for Chapter 13 bankruptcy despite spending the past 8 months promoting a $140,000 fundraising campaign to support their mounting financial troubles. Owens, who worked as a KGO radio host for more than 40 years, and his wife, a former KCBS host, submitted the paperwork in Arizona federal court on Thursday, August 14, according to public legal documents reviewed by the Chronicle. Owens and Black moved to Scottsdale, where they purchased a $1.5 million home after he retired from the San Francisco station during the pandemic. Now, let us preface already that the home at the time they purchased it, somewhere around 2020, was not $1.5 million. That is the current valuation of the home and property. It was under $1 million. I believe it was $909 and some change. So it was not a $1 million home in Scottsdale at the time they purchased it. We'll carry on. Their daughter, Laura Owens. Oh, she's finally mentioned. Oh, look at that. We won't mention anywhere else, I'll bet. But just a little footnote, because Laura's a footnote to the San Francisco Chronicle. I guess they're only interested in Ron. Maybe Rich Lieberman, who had a live the other day, was right that now they're starting to wise up a little bit that they can't avoid it, the San Francisco press. Megan Fox stated in her recent video catching us up, there's blood in the water and the sharks are smelling it. That's not exactly how she phrased it, but she said, the sharks are finally smelling blood in the water, or something to that effect. Yes, so now even San Francisco press, who will be the last on board, because I'm sure some of them had Ron Owens say, can you not talk about this, please? That's my opinion. I would suspect that's the case. Maybe nothing was said and they felt they just couldn't talk about him. He was off limits, but he's not off limits anymore. But Laura is still being treated a little bit gently here. Their daughter, Laura Owens, who is involved in an unrelated high-profile paternity case, lives with them. That's all we say. Oh, no. It's not just that she lives with them in an unrelated case. The paternity case, as you all know who've been following this for any length of time, the paternity case with the denial of the Arizona Supreme Court not wanting to take up Laura Owens' second appeal after the appellate court said, shut up and sit down, the case can really go no further. So there's really no more paternity case in which to be fighting over. But notice they did not talk about Laura being indicted for 7 felonies because to the San Francisco press, it's entirely unrelated, despite the fact that Laura Michelle Owens and her finances are absolutely, in my opinion, entangled with mom and dad. Laura doesn't make much money on her own, if at all. It seems that her parents subsidize absolutely everything she does. So to say that her paternity case, although it's now, of course, become a criminal case with 7 felony charges, to say that it's unrelated is stupid. I mean, let's just be blunt here. It's stupid, it's ignorant, and they choose not to dig a little further than the few crumbs they have decided to pick up to report on, which is absolutely ridiculous. Let's keep reading. They now have $2.3 million in liabilities and owe $511,327 to more than 40 banks, credit card companies, and other creditors, according to the documents. Black is referred to by her legal name, Elizabeth Ann Naylor, in the bankruptcy petition. I wonder how many people would know what her real name was if it wasn't for things like this being said, and for things I've covered, by the way. Check out my previous videos talking about Mama Owens. More than $400,000 of their debt was incurred this year, despite Owens' friends and family launching a GoFundMe campaign for him on New Year's Eve intended to support his, quote, overwhelming financial strain amid an ongoing struggle with Parkinson's disease and other health battles. As of Monday, August 18, he has raised more than $131,000 of the $140,000 goal. He and his wife's bankruptcy paperwork notes that they pay $150 a month for medical and dental care, plus $225 for another type of health insurance, and $1,500 for life insurance. They don't mention I believe $425 monthly for the horses that belong to Laura. See, there's a lot of kid gloves. They're being very selective in what they're not talking about, especially as it pertains to Laura. I would like to know why the San Francisco Chronicle is avoiding the huge, obvious pink elephant in the room. Why are we not talking about Laura's criminal charges and how her legal expenses are almost certainly, if not demonstratively, tied into the bankruptcy? You can't pay for all these lawyers that Laura has had over the last several years, lawyers they have for bankruptcy, perhaps even lawyers for perhaps being named an accomplice in Laura's criminal trial. There's a lot of lawyering going on here, and we'll talk about a certain lawyer who's having a Twitter meltdown in just a moment. But again, the Chronicle is not doing a very good job being thorough. A lot of people can say lots of accurate and unflattering things about legacy media for their lack of proper coverage. This is sort of the first time they've actually caught up on some of these things going on, and we've been following this for over a year. It's ridiculous, absolutely ridiculous. So that is all from this recent article from the San Francisco Chronicle about Ron Owens in Chapter 13, and again, barely a footnote about Laura Michelle Owens, daughter of Ron Owens and Jan Black, and her 7 felony criminal charges. I mean, it's insane. I don't understand why they're treating them so carefully. We don't want to upset the Owens dynasty in San Francisco. Well, they're not there anymore. And no, they're not a dynasty. They're not a royal family, as another article has mentioned about them. These are just people. One of them had a little bit of fame. I don't think if you were to take an on-the-street poll, I don't know that anyone would know who the hell Jan Black was. I would be surprised if there was more than 10% who if you said, do you know who Jan Black is? If anyone actually knew. Because let's face it, Ron Owens was on AM radio, okay? AM radio was dying decades ago, and he's sort of the last vestige of AM radio talk shows. Now, yes, he was the highest paid guy in San Francisco, and for reasons I can't figure out, he was on an AM dial, and the things he would talk about were only interesting to people who hadn't evolved to FM radio yet. Ron was no Howard Stern by any means, but it's very interesting to me how it seems San Francisco news is reluctant, dare I say, dragging their feet and having to even cover this story at all. And can we talk about the quality of the images here? I mean, can you find a grainier, fuzzier image of Ron Owens, San Francisco Chronicle? It's insane. There's something in the water in San Francisco and not wanting to report the news when it's time to report it. Dragging our feet, humming and hawing, not talking about all of the relevant national news, especially when it comes to Laura. All right, that's enough of that. We'll get to some other good stuff because I want to cover some good stuff. Speaking of news articles, let's just get rid of that one because I don't want to talk about the Chronicle and its rather lazy reporting of Ron and their lack of reporting of Laura. And let's get rid of a bunch of ads. Can we get rid of ads? Let's get rid of ads. There we go. This got posted over the weekend. This is from the one and only Megan Fox. This is a great story by Megan. It sums things up rather well. And it touches on sort of where things are at with the family and Laura's case. And the title is #MeToo is dead! Pregnancy faker case goes viral. By one and only Megan Fox, 12:03 p.m. on August 22nd. Scandalous. Pregnancy faker Laura Owens isn't the only Owens in her family with the measurable levels of audacity. I love that word. Ron Owens, a famous former talk radio host in San Francisco on KGO and father of Laura Owens, has filed for Chapter 13 bankruptcy, listing over $2.3 million in debts. Meanwhile, he and his spouse, journalist Jan Black, pull in $21,000 per month in pensions and Social Security. Somehow, the Owens family ran up more than $300,000 in debt this year alone, and then opened a GoFundMe that pulled in over $130,000 from fans. Many likely giving on fixed incomes, as Owens fans are mostly senior citizens. A very accurate and astute observation. This news comes in right before Laura Owens, the architect of the legendary fake pregnancy scam, and her bombastic loudmouth lawyer, David Gingras.
My name's David Gingras, barely a lawyer, hanging in there. Joining me today is the pregnancy faker extraordinaire, Laura Owens.
Pregnancy faker and douche canoe. Although I'm trying something new. This came in at the suggestion of a comment in one of the recent videos. Probably the last one. DUI douche canoe. Or should we just call him Dewey douche canoe? That's the same thing, right? DUI Dewey. Dewey douche canoe. Laura Owens and her loudmouth lawyer, Dewey the douche canoe. They were denied by yet another court. The Arizona Supreme Court formally denied the latest appeal in the paternity debacle involving former Bachelor star Clayton Echard. The ruling upholds the judgment against her as issued by Judge Julie Mata, and a legal bill for Echard that now tops $200,000. Attorney Greg Woodnick told Mercury News that her claims were predicated on fraud, and frankly, the courts couldn't agree more. Abusing the legal process, perjury, records tampering, and other behaviors warrant the proceedings that are now in the hands of the criminal court and Maricopa County Attorney's Office, Woodnick told the outlet. Victims should be believed, but false allegations ruin lives. Clayton is fortunate to have had a community that supported him in exposing the truth. Laura's attorney is facing consequences of his own for his behavior in this case, which has been wild, to put it mildly. Gingras is being investigated by the Arizona State Bar for disparaging Judge Mata publicly. It is also relevant that he was arrested last July for his second DUI charge, which may explain some of his unorthodox behavior. He has not responded to the press, but his comments about the case are all over X, Twitter, and his blog. Mercury News found this gem where he publicly advised Laura not to pay the court-ordered sanctions to Echard. Quote, from David Gingras, Dewey douche canoe. I hope you never pay Clayton. If you have millions of dollars stashed away, he can go look for it. If you don't, he ain't getting nothing. After Laura Owens admitted she didn't have any money for Echard to obtain via a collection agency, Gingras also said, you get blood from her stone or you don't. And Clayton can go beep. I'm sure it said F himself. As amusing as it is to watch the big media catch on to the absolute clown show that is this story, what rankles is their newfound interest. Some of the very outlets that giddily published every grotesque detail of Laura's fake claims, without checking, without investigating the truthfulness of those claims, have now latched on, LARPing as truth seekers. Love it. Legally LARPing. Hey, there's the name of a there's the name of a channel, Legally LARPing. Where were they when independent journalists, podcasters, and a Reddit community were digging through court files and exposing the lies? Absent. Perhaps they were afraid of offending a media dynasty in San Francisco or insulting the #MeToo narrative that demands fealty to every claim made by people with vaginas, no matter how unbelievable their stories of woe may be. Oh, and even some trying to latch onto that don't have vaginas, it seems. Just an observation. But now, they're all jumping in, from the Daily Mail to the San Francisco Chronicle. It's now safe to call a fraud, and they're all pretending they cracked the case. The truth is, they enabled a serial liar and fraudster to perpetuate her story for much longer than she would have been able to without their help. Here's the main takeaway. The mainstream press only tells the truth when it's safe. I believe that to be accurate. They didn't care to look into Owens' ridiculous claims and fabricated evidence, and they participated in smearing Clayton Echard, a good man for no reason, save laziness for fear of bucking the approved pro-female narrative. But independent creators weren't afraid. We shoved the narrative into the light long before the dinosaurs of journalism caught up. And thanks to the relentless scrutiny, the courts, and now the world, see Laura Owens for what she is. A serial liar with 7 felony indictments, saddled with eye-watering debt, and out of legal lifelines. Ron's legacy is now as bankrupt as his finances. Laura's lies have cost her parents their reputation and their financial stability, and big media. They finally joined the party not as heroes, but as hangers-on who want to rewrite how this story came to light. Independent press, YouTubers, and regular moms researching over their kitchens broke the story and saw it through to justice. And that story isn't over. Owens is facing a criminal trial in January in Arizona and a 2-day evidentiary hearing in San Francisco in October, where she will have to finally face questioning about the fabricated pregnancy scam she pulled on Mike Marraccini in California. You can read the story at that link if you go and look at Megan's article. Stay tuned, folks. It's not often you see justice meted out on a false accuser, and this one is only getting spicier. Kudos to Megan yet again for more brilliant writing. A full round of applause for the one and only Megan Fox on PJ Media. Go clickety-click, folks. She needs the like count on her PJ Media as well. And of course, you can join in Megan Fox YouTube channel where she covers this story, all of Laura Owens from time to time, when there isn't more regularly exciting stuff with What the Hales, Lynette Preston, and all of the other clowns in that debacle. Talk about debacles. I may actually cover the Hales case at some point because there is so much. And that Umbrella Guy Tug is on it daily, and my hat's off to that man and his... Gosh, I think I would get tired about talking about Laura Owens every single day. Once or twice a week is actually quite enough for me. But here we are. Now let's get to the fun stuff. Let's talk about Dewey Douche Canoe, David S. Gingras, Esquire.
The fucking douche canoe.
My name's David Gingras, barely a lawyer, hanging in there. Joining me today is the pregnancy faker extraordinaire, Laura Owens.
Well, we'll only talk about David. We'll talk about pregnancy faker some more as there's more details to come up. But let's talk about David. Let's talk about David now. And no, we won't turn that into a song. But oh my God, what a Twitter meltdown. I'm calling it Twitter because to me it's still Twitter. It will always be Twitter. I don't care if wealthy people rename it X or other things and try and loosen some of the shackles on it. It's Twitter to me. You make a tweet. It was cute. It worked. Don't change branding just because you're wealthy and you want to piss on it and try and make it your own thing. That's just stupid. So it will forever be to me Twitter. I'm sorry if you can't stand it not being accurate because it's called X now. Well, maybe I shouldn't even apologize. That's the way it is. It's Twitter to me, and when people tweet, they will have things to say. And boy, has David S. Gingras Esquire, Dingus the Douche Canoe, or as we are starting to adopt now, I think, Dewey Douche Canoe, he said a lot. And we can't help but wonder, are those alcohol-fueled rantings and blatherings on? Because he goes on and on. And on, responding to his own comments. So it's just sort of a string of things because he just wants to... he wants to hear himself talk. He wants to bloviate. There's no pontificating. He pretends he is when he scrounges out some old stuff that he wrote in college, allegedly. It's not pontificating. That's just he's reminiscing because I think he knows he's going to be on the way out of the Arizona bar, or at least that's my feeling. I'm not sure what the portents say in the Karma universe about his bar status. We may hear about that from other podcasters, your psychic girlfriend and mine. She may pull some cards on what his future may hold in the Arizona bar. We'll see. That would be very entertaining. But he's obviously got some problems. He's got a DUI case pending. So when he says things like he's leaving Arizona, well, that may eventually be true, but if he doesn't make an appearance for his DUI case and whatever else the bar wants of him, that's going to be big problems for him. A failure to appear for a lawyer who, well, as of this moment, allegedly still holds his license to practice law in the state of Arizona. Not good. Not good at all. And for those of you who are wondering, if something happens in Arizona because he is licensed, allegedly, in both Arizona and California. If he is disciplined in Arizona, that will get sent to the California bar, and there may be things they have to look at there too. If his bar status changes in Arizona, it will have to be reflected in any other area that he practices. That's just the way it works, which is why if you practice in multiple states, you get in trouble in one, you get in trouble in all. That's just how the American Bar Association is going to have things work. So you have to be on your P's and Q's or you're going to lose it everywhere. We could talk about how other lawyers are trying to dance around that. People like Legally Leslie Federigos, who is involved in the What the Hales saga. And if there was ever a saga, it is that case. You know, I'm just going to start talking about some Hales things from time to time because I've been following it, more or less, when not paying attention to Laura Owens and the Owens family dynasty saga. The amount of insane people circling like vultures over all of that it will blow your mind. So if you don't get enough court legal drama in your life, follow Megan and Tug. They talk about it constantly. But let's talk about David. And I have the picture of the boat because in a posting that now I can't find because I think he may have dirty deleted once it got talked about, David sold his boat. And this is a picture, ostensibly, of said boat that he sold to, as I recall, and I'll semi-quote here because I remember reading this text on Twitter, I sold my boat and sold it to a family who's keeping it where I kept it, and they have agreed to let me use it from time to time because they're keeping it where I kept it at the same marina, allegedly. So he was sort of waxing poetic that even though he sold his boat, he's going to keep getting to use it because the people he sold it to are nice and they'll let him use it from time to time and it's still going to be parked in the same place. Now, my theory is this. Let's talk about the boat, shall we? Boats are expensive things. This isn't a huge boat. I'm not even sure it's 20 feet. It looks like it's maybe 14 or 17 feet. It's a little inboard jet wave runner to piddle around the lakes and wherever else you want to take it and haul it on a trailer. I don't know that David has a truck and a trailer, but maybe he does, and I just don't know it. Or he just keeps it parked on a lake and just toodles around because that's all he can do. Now, why would he sell his boat? I have a theory about that. As you know, Dewey the douche canoe has a Dewey. Yes, that's right. He has a DUI. He was pulled over and arrested for driving while intoxicated and for a fairly substantive blood alcohol level, not surprisingly. It has been the opinion of many other podcasters that he may in fact be a raging alcoholic, and his behavior, both in how he's handled his client's case, that being Laura Owens, and how he has conducted himself in presenting himself, his client, the case, both in the court and publicly. And in the court, we don't just mean in the courtroom itself. We mean in the pleadings, we mean in the filings, all of the things he has produced in representing Laura Owens. He has behaved terribly. He has behaved like someone who deserves to be disbarred and be kicked out of practicing law for the rest of their natural existence. There are standards. And while we believe that Arizona has been rather lax at David Gingras thus far, and we have learned that the Arizona Bar has organized a behavioral committee to look at his antics. And he's had quite a few of them. Now, he thinks, stupidly, that some of it's protected under the First Amendment. Yes, the First Amendment allows you to say lots of things. However, being an officer of a court restricts you a little bit in what you can flap your lips about. Otherwise, you're going to be finding yourself on the wrong side of the bar. And that's just it. There's lots of code of conduct stuff. We've read some of those things in previous videos. We have talked about David Gingras. You can go back and look at some of those. I can't remember what they are. If I do, I'll put it in the show notes and tag them and link them. So you can go back and see what constitutes various conduct. I skim over it rather quickly because talking about code of conduct and ethics for the Arizona Bar is rather dull. It's far more entertaining to talk about what we see being thrown out in the public sphere when we're having Twitter meltdowns. So let's go to some of those Twitter meltdowns. Lauren Knighty and Bruce the Mobile Moose. Yes, Bruce is on the loose, and he's a mobile moose. They've been covering some of this. They actually talked about this, I think, on Thursday or Friday. Some of this has happened before that, but we'll get caught up on the ramblings and rantings and the insane mumblings of David S. Gingras, Dewey the douche canoe.
The fucking douche canoe.
And this first post is from August 12, and he says, I almost want to use the voice, but We're a little bit hoarse today. Yes, the allergies are still going nuts. Pollen is in the air like crazy, and no number of air filters will take it out of the entire universe where I live here. So we just deal with the effects. I'm not going to use a voice. You'll have to just tolerate me being a little bit more boring than my former reading of Dingus and his affidavit for Laura Michelle Owens in her DVRO. And we'll talk about David leaving Laura hanging out to dry in California in but a moment, one thing at a time. So he says in this August 12 posting on Twitter, "Everyone having a nice summer? Mine has been suboptimal so far, but I want to clear up some BS." If there's any BS, David, it's stuff you have posted. And he says, number 1, LO, meaning Laura Owens. I don't know why he's afraid of saying Laura Owens, other than that he can't mention her directly without, risking her criminal case. I don't know why he's trying to be cagey. It's bizarre, but we know who it is. We know he's talking to people like me and other people interested in this case. LO did not ask me to help remove an illegal photo taken of her yesterday. 2, it is illegal, he puts criminal, to take photos of people in a court building. Now this is in reference to Dave Neal using a photo he did not take, but one that was shared with him, a photo that was indeed taken of Laura Owens as they were strolling through the halls of the court building when she made her very brief appearance the other day. It was a very brief appearance. It was only about three, not quite 4 minutes. Laura and family were in tow, including Ron in a wheelchair and Jan Black waving stupidly at the various people watching her like she was, I don't know, the Queen Mother. And apparently, when they were leaving the building, Jan Black turned to people and said, "Oh, thank you for being here to support us," or something to that effect. She's nuts. I called it. I called it long ago when I covered her interview with Laura and the whole podcast thing with, I think it was Jordan Belfort's podcast, where she was sort of bragging about herself. I was calling out that she looks like she's got dementia. She's got something, folks. So I've come to the conclusion with the dynamics of Laura and Mama Owens, they're ruling the roost. Ron is so feeble, and so Ron's on his way out. Let's just call it what it is. Let's be transparent that the man is in ill health. He's not doing well. Supposedly he has all these conditions, and if he's being pushed around in a wheelchair, he's obviously not very mobile. So it is the women in his life that are running him into ruin. It is Jan and it is Laura. And as we know, they are two peas in a pod. They do things together. Sisters, sisters. Anyone remember that song? Oh, that's from an old movie. There were never such devoted sisters. Now, they're not sisters, but they sure act like it. It's not a very balanced mother-daughter relationship. Not at all. Mama helps Laura write her FBI reports, and, Laura looks to Mom to fill in all the gaps whenever she's on the hook. We've seen that in body cam footage. Thick as thieves are mother and daughter. In this instance, in my opinion, how did I get on that tangent? Oh, I can't even remember. Oh, yes, that's right. We were talking about the family appearing at Laura's last appearance in Arizona. It wasn't very interesting. Everyone's already covered that. It was so short, it wasn't even worth talking about. It was just a quick status update. Oh, my goodness. But Dingus the douche canoe had a shit fit when Dave Neal used a picture that someone else provided to Dave because they were present and snapping pictures. Now, yes, generally speaking, you're not supposed to take pictures in the courtroom. Well, definitely not the courtroom without the judge's permission, but I think some states are a little different. Arizona, apparently, you can't take pictures at all inside the courthouse, even in common hallways, areas that are essentially public spaces. Whatever. Dave was a nice guy. He blurred out the image. Potato, potato. Frankly, if one's going to throw around accusations of illegal pictures, it would be to the person that took the image, not the person that used the image. But David, being a terrible lawyer, is going to throw shade at Dave because Dewey the douche canoe is infatuated with Dave Neal. It's a love fest. I can't wait to see the lunchbox with pictures and stickers of Dave Neal all over it being found in Dewey the douche canoe's house. I made that up. Yes, I know. It's a little levity on a Sunday afternoon. David is infatuated with Dave. It's just the strangest thing, and has been since he took over this case. But there's more. There's so much more in his Twitter rantings. And he continues. My email to a certain YouTuber, that being Dave Neal, was sent solely in my capacity as a private citizen, not as a lawyer acting for anyone. That's questionable because he was a lawyer acting for that person. So that would be something that would have to be fought over in a trial setting. He can ask. Dave could have denied. But Dingus the douche canoe could have been a dipshit because that's what he is. He's just the world's biggest dick. He has to compensate for being such a terrible lawyer by being a dick to everybody. That's all he's got. And I wouldn't doubt that some of that behavior, if not all of it, might carry over to his personal life. But never mind, I digress. He says, it pisses me off to see people breaking the law and laughing about it, so I decided to ask him to respect the law, just like you have done repeatedly. He didn't respect the law when he drove drunk and was arrested because of it, and now he's facing charges for doing so. And we hope that the kid gloves come off for him, too, in those charges. He continues, next Monday could be a good day, but to be honest, 90+% of petitions are denied. Result will be posted here. He's referencing his petition. His appeal to the Arizona Supreme Court, trying to overturn the ruling of Judge Julie Mata and the paternity case that took place on June 10, 2024. He also says, pray for good, but keep expectations low. If the Arizona Supreme Court does take the case, which they have not, that will be a big deal. I'll explain why in more detail when, if that happens. Well, it didn't, David, so you have nothing to talk about in detail. His next entry in the same thread, I've had contact with the Arizona bar recently. Word is a report will be done soon, like any day now. We'll see if they found proof. I brought the bomb squad and drug-sniffing dogs to court. I'm sure the person who wrote this complaint would be terrified of drug-sniffing dogs. Well, if they smelled alcohol, David, you would be the one that would probably be most terrified. That's just my opinion. Let's make this bigger again. For those cult members praying to see me disbarred, well, it's not about praying to see you disbarred. It's about you earning it, quite frankly. Know this, I would actually like to leave the Arizona bar on my own terms, but until the bomb squad complaint is resolved, I can't resign. The rules forbid resignation when you have open complaints. Well, there's more than one open complaint, David, against you. We know that. He posts a thing from the organization of, we don't care. We don't care. What the bar needs to do is what the bar needs to do. But of course, he's going to spin everything can. David, like his client, or should we say former client, wants to pretend he's a victim all the time. The world is always unfair against him, even though it's his own actions that put him where he is. If the bar charges me with anything related to Mata, which they should, keep in mind, I get to defend myself fully. That means I could take Mata's deposition and ask her to explain the PP closed on Sunday thing and other stuff. Could also subpoena others, JFC, Greg, for info as needed. No, that's not how it works. You don't get to depose a sitting judge. And he knows this. But this is David trying to rattle everyone's chain to think that he's going to get something that it's not going to happen. It just won't. Until then, I'm focused on closing out this chapter of my life and moving forward to the next one. Is that going to be working for Home Depot, we wonder? Life is short. Be happy, be kind. I'd encourage people to show more grace and compassion to each other, but that's not human nature. I wish it was. What he's really asking for here is to allow people like Laura Michelle Owens to flout the law, to be able to get away with committing fraud. That's what he's wanting. You know, we should all just turn our cheek and turn a blind eye to everything because, well, he and his client say so. That's what he would like to have happen because entitlement, which all of them work for, all of the Owens family and David try to work for and work from, is entitlement. David thinks he's certainly entitled. We shouldn't have to be held accountable for the things we do. Although he's being held accountable for a DUI, Dewey Douche Canoe has a hearing coming up. In closing, I do have regrets, and I do apologize for some things. Oh God, are we going to do a lazy apology that's absolutely worthless? Yes, we are. But I have no regret about fighting to protect the rule of law and integrity of our courts. Enabling a serial fraud like Laura Michelle Owens is not doing that, David. You should know better. You are an officer of the court, so you deserve to lose your license, and you deserve to lose it in all states. You may not like the law, but without it, we're fucked as a society. Don't I know that better than anyone? Well, you should, because you're being charged with crimes, yes, and driving while intoxicated, because it is a threat to innocent people. It is a crime. And I hope they come down hard on you because it's your second one. You deserve it. So that's that entry. Let's continue on. There's more. There's so much more people. And while we are talking about Dewey the Douche Canoe's many failings, let's talk about yet another one. This one comes to us from Dave Neal, the one and only Rush podcast, talking about all things Bachelor Nation and Bachelor Nation news. Dave, of course, broke this story from the very beginning, and he brings us the latest news involving Dingus the Douche Canoe and his representing Laura Michelle Owens, or no longer representing, apparently, Laura Owens in San Francisco at the DVRO hearing. So here's what Dave has to say about Dewey the Douche Canoe and whether or not he will be appearing against the amazing tilted lawyer Omar Serrato.
Hey, listen, since I got you here, I'll give you a little late tea for those following the Laura Owens case. I'm hearing that Laura Owens' attorney has bailed on her. You know me, I wouldn't just throw information out there if I didn't think it was accurate. I'm hearing that Laura Owens' attorney, who is representing her in her restraining order suit against Mike Marraccini, that he is abandoning her, and she may be on her own. This after she lost her case with the Supreme Court denying their attempt to have it be seen by them. She now owes Clayton Eckert, former bachelor, $200,000. And also the lady who claimed to be friends with Laura Owens, who told me that Laura attempted suicide. That's right. This happened 2 days ago. Check out yesterday's episode. Well, in attempts to contact the real person behind the impersonator, we are now being told that they were not behind the email, which means somebody is playing arts and crafts, and it is ugly out there. There's your update. We'll be back this afternoon to wrap things up, as it's been an absolute wild week.
Let's back up just a little bit, because I think this is going to be an important piece in the case for Laura Owens later on. So we'll deviate just slightly from Dewey the Douche Canoe to what Dave is talking about. Now, Dave Neal received yet another email. Boy, he sure receives a lot of emails about Laura Owens. We need to cover this because this is going to demonstrate to us that Josh Kolsrud does not have very much control over his client, and things may keep getting worse for her. But isn't that interesting that his splash to try and represent her against Mike Marraccini in her DVRO case has now turned into him supposedly walking away. And as David posted in that Twitter, he is leaving Arizona, supposedly. Well, he can't for good because he's got cases to do. He's got business there. He has business of his own he has to manage, so he can't go away forever. But let's talk about this letter that Dave is talking about. So we will go to Dave's other post referencing someone who claimed that Laura has committed suicide, which we don't believe has happened. We would hear about it. So it seems that someone may be faking their suicide yet again. And I'm going to use the word because it's important we use words when they mean something. So let's pop over to Dave's story about that email. And before Dave carries on with his story, just a little trigger warning in case you need it. I like to include such warnings when necessary. This is something Dave received. And given how it was signed and knowing air quotes this time, I think we have a hunch who has sent this. So let's have Dave catch us up on more things that he has received from questionable people, most likely Laura Owens herself. Here we go.
All right, here it is. Here's what the spoiler is. This is what it's all about. This is no other way to say it. I got this email 2 nights ago. It came in the afternoon. I don't check my email too often. It's chaotic. So I got this late 2 nights ago. Yesterday is when we had to deal with what I'm about to read to you. Hello, Dave. And again, trigger warning on this one. Suicide. Hello, Dave. I found your email address online. I have on very good authority that LMO attempted suicide today and left a note calling out you specifically, and also Lauren N. So again, today's Thursday. This would have been Tuesday. She called me out, Lauren N., Megan F., Omar, Rachel, Steve, JFC, Instagram, and Reddit as her reasons. I'm not sure if she made it. I'm assuming survived. I am not sure if she made it, and I would not be playing it so cocky about you not being sued by her family. You should be ashamed of yourself for destroying this woman who I have known for more than a decade. As part of her friend group, none of us wanted to come forward to publicly support her because we have been scared of what JFC would do to us, our families, and our livelihoods. But that does not mean she has not been loved by very many. Have you taken the time to know her instead of making her life hell? I think you would have found that she was a much different person than you made her out to be. All the best, KB. Sent with Proton Mail, secure email. Proton Mail is out of Switzerland, and the reason why a lot of journalists use Proton Mail is you can't subpoena them, so it feels like a very safe, untraceable way to start an email. Now,
All right, so that's the basics. Dave goes on to talk about it more. I'm not going to steal his thunder. Go check out Dave's channel if you want to hear more about this story, but it seems Laura may be writing more guilt email, trying to get people to feel guilty about exposing her lies and her fraud. But we're trying to hide behind more pseudonyms like Chase J. Jones and, in this case, KB, who foolishly signed it all the best. All the best, all the best, all the best, all the very, very best, Megan Fox. Yes, I've got that in my head too. It's all there. Okay, so that touches on more antics seemingly from Laura, and perhaps why people are just not doing very good at their lawyering jobs. I would hate to be her criminal defense attorney right about now when people are sending things like this. But here it is, exposed for all the world. Someone, most likely Laura Michelle Owens, is trying to send Dave Neal. Although, I should be insulted. I should be insulted, shouldn't I, that I'm not included in this list, which also mentions Laura Knighty, Megan Fox, Omar Serrato, Rachel Juarez, and Steve Carbone, Reality Steve. Although they forgot that umbrella guy, because Tug has talked about this too, including with Megan. So we're leaving some people out, and we should all be incensed that not all of us are being covered. Of course, I also mentioned JFC, Instagram, and Reddit as her reasons. No. This is a false scare attempt to get people to feel guilty that someone might, remember, I will take you back to the mental Wayback Machine. I covered it in the police body cam videos. Someone claimed to be feeling suicidal as a tactic, as a ploy, as an attempt in their fraud to get people to behave, or to manipulate people, shall we say, into reacting certain ways. This is Laura's MO, is to claim harm. But it's not working. It's not going to work for Dave. It's not going to work for me. It's not going to work for anybody else. And it sounds like Dave has gotten to the bottom of this one already. And while we're talking about Laura, in our brief deviation from Dewey the Douche Canoe, I'm starting to do some research. I want to get further to the bottom of Chase J. Jones. I've done a little initial research that located in the neighborhood in which that Chase J. Jones P.O. box was ostensibly located. And curiously enough, whoever did it, and allegedly it was Laura, they gave it a little bit of thought, because that part of town in Seattle is a certain ethnic group, not surprisingly. So someone had some connection in some fashion that knew where to make it look more plausible that they were a black quote-unquote journalism student, even though they were not, and the Chase J. Jones account was traced back to Laura Owens herself as part of her self-perpetuating serial fraud. We're going to do a little bit more digging. If I can actually find the unredacted information about that P.O. box. And I did look it up once. I had that information once. I don't have it anymore. I didn't keep it because I didn't think it was going to be interesting at the time. That was silly of me. Keep everything, then you have it. But I'm interested to do a little bit more on-site research and location, and maybe even asking business owners if they can trace things back further. We have that capacity, but all right. Back to David Gingras. This was just a little side thing because the freak show from Laura Owens and trying to get a pity party, a pity grift, just like the GoFundMe for the family, that has continued in this email that Dave received earlier this past week. It's unreal. They're insane. The Owens family is absolutely insane. Laura is part of it. And I would imagine anyone legitimate who would be reaching out to anyone like Dave would have the courage to actually use the real name in legitimate concern. But clearly this is a stunt. This is a scam. This is a scheme. This, in my opinion, is 110%. Let's just throw out numbers because 1,000,000% pregnant. This is 1,000,000% by Laura Michelle Owens, and it could get her into more trouble. And I believe Dave says later in this, which I'm not going to play because Dave has the right to monetize this, and I just wanted to do this for a newsworthy reference. I think he mentions that this has already been forwarded to the Maricopa County Attorney's Office and other authorities who are charging her with 7 felony counts, and those may continue to keep stacking if she pulls stunts like this to more people. or more to Dave, or more to anybody else. So there we go. That's our little sideshow about the latest suicide claims of Laura Michelle Owens, which so far are turning out to be fraud, as far as we know at this point in time. So maybe there's more wellness checks that will happen, and we'll get more body cam footage when someone claims they've committed suicide again. Yet again. Is that the only tactic we have? Is just, oh, someone was feeling suicidal and did harm themselves and left a note mentioning everyone who is their enemy for revealing their serial fraud pregnancy scam. Yikes. It's all right. Let's get back. Let's get back to the fun stuff, reading Gingras stuff. This was just a little diversion. Just to help. No, it's not sexy time, but we are going to play some jazz because I need a little bit to help me get through this. It's just, he's so mundane. Yes, he is a great drama queen, but his ramblings are just ridiculous. It's just, I mean, are they really that interesting? I'm only covering them for thoroughness while they exist. Any day now he may take them down and pretend like he never posted them because that's what he does. That's what his client did with her Medium blogs. He deleted a lot of stuff. So we're just doing this for a little bit of completion and to sort of cover some bases. That's better. Let's turn it down just a little bit. We don't want it too loud. Let's see, when is this post from? This is him checking in on the Supreme Court for his now former client, Laura Michelle Owens. August 19 is when this one was posted. As of 5:20-ish p.m., I have no updates. If I do get any notice directly from the court, I will immediately share it. See, he was always hoping he was going to get a Hail Mary. That's the only reason why he's talking about it. I'm not sure if he was ever confident as a practicing attorney. He always thinks he was going to win things, and every time he has lost, it's hysterical. Let's carry on. Let's see what else we got here. Moving on. Okay, what's this one? For Emily Pete and everyone else, lamenting the lack of a ruling today, stop. The Arizona Supreme Court issued a death warrant today condemning a man to die soon. They are busy. I know cult fans of a certain fake-ass TV show want justice because you are children, but this is serious stuff. I've never watched that show. I know he's probably referencing The Bachelor, but I've never watched it. And like so many other people who have had an interest in this case, shall we say, myself included, there's many people who don't watch The Bachelor. I had no idea who the hell Clayton Echard was until the whole thing blew up, until it started getting shared around the internet. Thanks to Dave Neal. And that's why David Dingus the Dewey Douche Canoe. Okay, I'll hit it again. Why not?
The fucking douche canoe.
That's why David hates him so much. Because if it weren't for Dave Neal and Reality Steve, guys that do follow The Bachelor, we may not know about this. So it was to their initial efforts. And those who picked it up later, Megan, Tug, Lauren, Bruce, so on and so forth, people like myself, we wouldn't know. We wouldn't have much to talk about. We wouldn't have the fraud of the Owens family. And I think there's more fraud going on than just Laura. That's my opinion. And I think it may get proven out in court when it comes to the bankruptcy filing for Ron, Stephen Owens, and Elizabeth Ann Naylor, a.k.a. Jan Black. So yes, the court did have some serious business to do. Laura was not one of them, and so he whines about it. Some of the comments in some of these are great too. Robin Miller responds, "We never meant for you to come to any harm, Mr. G." Well, he did drive while intoxicated. He could have harmed lots of people, so never mind that, Robin Miller. I understand they will give you 2 methods to decide your own fate. Might I suggest the injections? I understand it's very peaceful, and you may sing Kumbaya while you sliver under the darkness. We must be talking about the other case. Other comments to this. From Yo Mama, come on, man, can you just not be a dick for 1 minute? No, he can't. Even when he's sober, apparently. I'm not sure if he's less of a dick when he's intoxicated or if he's less of a dick when he's sober. They seem to be about the same. Who is Emily Pete? Yeah, I don't know who Emily Pete is either. Rogue Mama, the famous Rogue Mama who we see in multiple channels. Calm Down and Aurora Pictures. I think he obliges later because I remember seeing cat pictures somewhere. He talks about another thing. Did you know reporting any potential federal crime to law enforcement is a legally protected activity? Well, of course, we have to have people blow the whistle. And he also says, did you know retaliating against someone for making such report is itself a federal crime carrying up to 10 years in prison? I'm not sure quite what he's referencing. Surely he's not referencing his client in an FBI report? Surely not. I'm not quite sure who he's talking about, but fraud reports. If we are referencing someone's FBI report made by Laura Michelle Owens and Elizabeth Ann Naylor, Mama Owens helping Laura, fraud reports are not protected. So I'm not quite sure what he's talking about. He likes to be cagey. He likes to be cagey in his postings because, well, he'll get his pee-pee slapped. Trish McBride says, and lying to federal agents or agencies can be a federal crime, specifically under 18 U.S.C., etc., often referred to as the false statement statute. This law makes it a crime to knowingly and willfully make false or fraudulent statements. What did she tell the FBI agent? You must be referencing Laura because it's a she. My moot court topic in law school was literally 18 U.S.C. I'm not sure if he would do a very good job representing it now. He couldn't seem to understand Rule 26. Bizarre man. He still has that brief. Yes, he's reminiscing about his past. More comments to that thread from Trish McBride. It's so unlike you to give up so easily and assume that no one would be interested. Some people are interested in the interpretation and arguments of law other than just the law printed itself and the judge's arguments. I have learned something that I didn't know today. He responds, I don't know what you mean by giving up. Are you saying you want to know more about 18 U.S.C.? I freaking found my brief on this. I have the Word doc, but it is so old it won't open with my current software. Oh my God. We don't care. We don't care about his papers from the past. And then someone below, this is funny. Has your wife left you yet? And he responds, as a lawyer, some aspects of my life qualify me as a limited purpose public figure. Bring the hate on. That's fine. My wife, sister, niece, and family are not public figures. They are not valid topics of concern and will never be subjects of general public comment from me. Although he's talked about his niece and driving her to school. He actually made a video about that I think he later deleted because he talked about listening to Rachel Juarez in an episode when he was driving her down to whatever university or Arizona school that was. So would you bring them into the public sphere, Dewey the Douche Canoe, David Gingras? You are making them public figures, so that's on you. And that's probably archived somewhere. And then other people talk about his posting not being truthful, so on and so forth. Blah, 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 blah. And let's go to the more dramatic post. This was great. This one caught my attention first, and then I had to back up a little bit. This is from August 21. And he says, rather dramatically, goodbye, Arizona. Hand wave. Wiggle, wiggle, wiggle. I just booked a one-way ticket out of Arizona, leaving next week. I'll be back one day, obviously. But for now, I'm taking some much-needed time off. Is that because you're facing a lot of shit for your bad conduct, maybe? In the meantime, try not to speculate about things you don't understand. This triggers my need to correct errors. David, Dewey the Douche Canoe. People are allowed their opinions. They can speculate on whatever the hell they want. You're welcome to attempt to smooth things over to paint yourself in a better light. But some things are plain. They're obvious. They're simple. They don't need you to smooth them over. Those of us who've been watching you for a long time know your behavior is absolutely deplorable. You are the deplorable person that you accuse people like Trump supporters of being because you are even worse. You're not a good lawyer. You're not even a good PR agent. You are just a reactionary who has an addiction problem. And people who have addiction problems, in my experience, also have behavioral problems. They may have multi-substance use disorders. They may have personality disorders. I hope that you're actually seeing a professional, getting those things taken care of, and you aren't just running away from all your problems rather than properly addressing them so that you can become a better person. And if you do stay with your wife or whoever else is in your family, that you will treat them better. Because if you treat them the way you do other people who are absolute strangers, they should leave you. They really should. Again, that's my opinion. I'm allowed to have my opinions. You can dislike them. I don't care. But your behavior has been absolutely excruciating. I mean, we could talk about your terrible lawyering and your seemingly lack of understanding the law for being someone who ostensibly graduated from San Francisco Law School. It's uncanny. How did you pass the bar? You can't even seem to get basic law correct, as at least as it was presented with this case and your client. Well, your former client, I guess now. It's unreal. It's unreal who someone who claims to practice, about 25 years, is so terrible at this. But we know that all professions have a strata, right? You have people that hit the median. You have people who exceed above that. People who I believe are like Greg Woodnick, people who end up being co-drafters of law and rules within their legal system because they're decent lawyers, they know the law, and they do good work. But David, your ego gets in your way, as well as your problems. And you better deal with those because, well, obviously, the law isn't working out for you. Not at all. All of the guaranteed wins you thought you'd have, not one. Not a single shred, not even a crumb of one. Not a speck, a scintilla. Not one in any of this case has come true, despite your declarations that you're absolutely going to win everything. So it certainly means that you live in la-la land. You live in Delusionalville, but of course, I suppose you may have to if you're working with the Owens family, who they themselves live in Delulu land. They're all crazy. And, well, crazy people and hiring crazy lawyers is probably a recipe for disaster. And that has been proven by your failure to represent your client well and fairly and practicing decently. And her being charged for 7 felony counts. I mean, she's a criminal. She is an indicted criminal. That's your doing, David. Fess up. Own it, bud. Okay, let's see what else does he say here. I'm waxing poetic. It's Sunday. What can I say? I've been sanctified. I was at church. It was a busy weekend at church. I'm just feeling a little bit more self-righteous than normal, perhaps. He goes on to say, for example, Arizona's anti-SLAPP law used to be very weak, one of the weakest in the country. I don't know. I'm not going to look it up. I don't care. Because it used to only apply to speech made to the legislature. It was basically useless. That changed in 2022 when the law was massively expanded. Yes, lots of states have worked on anti-SLAPP laws. But David, Dewey the douche canoe, slander and defamation do not get covered under anti-SLAPP. And when you're dragging a decent judge through the mud and you're making accusations that a court said you have no basis for, that would be the Court of Appeals, which you tried to claim that Judge Mata was doing private research into the Planned Parenthood thing and some other things you were accusing her of. Look at me, Daddy. I'm a real judge now. Your conduct can get you in trouble. And that is not protected under anti-SLAPP because you, as a practicing attorney in the state of Arizona, have ethics and you have rules of conduct you have to follow. And in my opinion, and I would wager, as the Arizona bar is finding out, you have broken those ethics and codes of conduct. We shall see. Of course, he continues to rattle on as only he can. The law now applies broadly to all exercise of free speech anywhere. That includes even on X, he says. It also applies to right of petition, litigation, and any written investigative demand. It doesn't when you are lying, David. It doesn't when you're intentionally attacking a sitting judge with things that are not true. Speculation. You don't like people speculating about you, but you are speculating about a judge for which you had no evidence, even for that speculation. That will get you into trouble, David, and as an officer of the court, you should know that. So he says it also applies, hence it applies to the Arizona bar. And if, he uses a lot of ifs, right, folks? He knows that he's got a snowball's chance in hell here. So he's going to use a lot of ifs. There's going to be a lot of padded language. Oh, I've run out of jazz already. Oh, that's terrible. We need more jazz. Let's not get into the fast stuff yet. I want the soundtrack. It helps. And if I prevail, we can seek legal fees plus documented time? Who's we? The mouse in your pocket, or are you trying to reference Laura? It's curious. Documented time away from employment to confer with counsel, meaning my lost income dealing with this and time spent dealing with hearings. If you didn't behave like a jackass and a dipshit, you wouldn't be in this position. It's just that simple. And you can file an anti-SLAPP to stop discovery. Well, this won't qualify for anti-SLAPP. You're under investigation. But you don't have to, and why would I want to? The law says the motion can be filed within 60 days after service of complaint, so I can get a complaint, then do some discovery with Mata. He's not going to get discovery with Mata. It's not going to happen. You don't get to have a fishing expedition. Folks, this is evidence of a bad lawyer. Dewey the douche canoe is this sort of Hollywood stereotype lawyer, the sleazy scumbag who's a bad lawyer who tries to violate everything and hope he can get away with it because he's no good. Yes, this is my opinion. Again, all of this is going to be in my opinion in case you haven't figured that out. But he's the stereotype that gives lawyers a bad name. He's the quintessential sleazy lawyer. And I think this might be sort of the end of his career. Just a hunch. He keeps going. As for discovery, there's a lot I want to do, but very little the bar can do. That's not true. They already have every document from the file, and I've already answered every question they ask with multiple 25-plus page letters, YouTube videos, and thousands of pages supporting documents. So guess what, folks? He didn't delete his videos. And he probably referenced them in some of his documents. What do you think? Do you think I'm right about that? So he's going to try and twist everything, just like he did everything for Laura and her case. He's going to try and twist it to make it look like he's right. But guess what? The bar's a little bit smarter than he is. They may not be quite so reactionary, which is unfortunate because I think bar organizations really should keep a tight leash on conduct. That would be the best thing for the profession. Some jurisdictions do that a little better than others. Arizona seems to be a little bit lax because really, in my view, David should have had his license yanked years ago. Just an opinion. But on my side, there's so much useful digging to do. Deposing Mata, it's not going to happen. He says it a lot. He's got this wet dream that he's going to get to depose Mata. And somehow through his doing so, he's going to have proof that he was right. And then they'll get a new trial, and Laura will be the victor. But guess what? It's not going to make 7 felonies go away. It's not going to happen. This is all delusional, wishful thinking. Deposing Mata, her dad. No, he's not going to get to depose her dad either. Getting docs from the judicial conduct folks. That can all happen now. See, this is crazy. And it will happen quickly. I'll do this immediately. Once I get the info I need, then the anti-slap motion will be filed. The primary question is legal, i.e. does the bar's position have legal merit given the facts? That's going to be a hard hill to climb for them. Rude speech is protected, even if you don't like it. Attacking judges with false claims is not rude speech. That's just being stupid. SCOTUS has already decided that, hence the bar may have a hard time. But here's the real trick. If my motion is denied, that can be immediately appealed first directly to Arizona Supreme Court and then to SCOTUS if needed. See, he's got a hard-on still for SCOTUS. And they regularly take bar cases when the First Amendment is implicated. You're going to lose, David. I know that already, and I'm not even a lawyer. Oh, this man and his delusions of grandeur. And again, always remember, if I win the anti-slap, there's another if, conditional statements, the bar can be ordered to pay my legal fees plus my lost income. Those numbers could easily be 500,000 or more. Oh, now he's thinking he's going to cash in. I wonder who else thinks they're going to cash in, right? Yeah. Someone who owes Clayton Eckert more than $200,000 after failing multiple times in court. And at some point, he says, someone from the bar may decide that risk isn't worth it. When I just want to retire anyway. You want to retire because you're facing disciplinary action, because you're a terrible lawyer, and you behaved poorly. Just like Leslie Federico's. She was forced in retirement for being a bad lawyer, dare I say equally as bad as you are. And of course, that's the same person that Megan Fox and Tug are suing. Suing for multitude of things, along with other collateral defendants, people that shared revenge porn or prawn. Megan calls it prawn to avoid the YouTube censors, so we may as well do the same. Dissecting revenge prawn. Now, David didn't get that disgusting. I think he's got it in him. If he really wanted to, he could have gone that sleazy, making up things and sharing it around, but then he would just fall into that same bucket of deplorables that Megan and Tug are suing in court. And using the same lawyer that Jeremy Hales is using, who's very intimately aware with that case. It's uncanny. He continues, because how can he not? We'll talk about his manic episodes momentarily. So he says, enjoy what's left of the summer. I won't be here, and with any luck, I may be out of here permanently. With any luck. Didn't he just say he's leaving for good? But now it has to have luck that he's going to be out of Arizona permanently. Not because I'm running away. Liar. You failed. You failed, and you would prefer people not come after you, so you're going to try and quietly relocate. I need my evil laughter. He's going to, with any luck, be out of there permanently. Oh dear, oh dear. I am proud of the work I did, and I will always maintain the courts got this one wrong. No, they didn't. Sucks, but I just want to move on to the next chapter. It sort of suggests to me that he really hasn't practiced much law in all these years. It's not clear to me where he got all of his money to survive in all these years since the dirty case. Maybe there were some residuals on that. I'm not totally sure. He must have had little things here and there hold him over. Maybe his wife contributes a lot to the income of the household. I don't really know. But he certainly, he lost his shirt on this one. And again, I believe that's why his boat, his beloved boat, which he took a drone shot of in some lake, I assume somewhere in Arizona, I don't know where. They were flying down the lake and there was a drone shot, so presumably he has a drone maybe somewhere or had a friend do it. He's driving his boat. I think he sold his boat because he needs the money. Just like certain Owens family started a GoFundMe because they need the money. Because they're broke. And I think David's on the verge of perhaps bankruptcy himself. I don't know. I'm speculating. I'm allowed to speculate, David. Piss off. It's sad. It's sad that they're damaged people like this represented even more damaged, entitled people like the Owens, like Ron and Jan and Laura. And poor sister Sarah, oh my goodness, Sarah Navarro and her husband Christian, they're going to see some tough times for a while because they were named on all those mortgages and other financial documents. They were co-signers. It's a mess. Let's see, are there any good comments responding to David's bloviating? This comment is fun. It comes from The Modern Maryland, and it says, sounds like you burned your bridges here, so you have to move somewhere else. Going after a judge on behalf of a serial con artist and abuser will do that. Enjoy starting over, I guess. Yeah. So, did he tell on himself? Has the bar perhaps indicated that they're moving to yank his license to practice law in Arizona? And where there is a yank in Arizona, there is most likely going to be a yank in California. It's how it works, folks. That's why you got to be careful about how you practice. And if you're going to practice law poorly, that's what's going to happen. And again, in my view, in my opinion, it's more than speculation. We saw it. David has practiced law very poorly, and he has behaved very poorly, and he has risked public safety. Well, we can't say very poorly, but very dangerously. Driving while intoxicated, he could have killed some people. And wouldn't that be something to be facing vehicular homicide charges for driving a car while intoxicated? That would have been sort of the cherry on top for Dewey the Douche Canoe. P&W Mama Bear. Hi, P&W Mama Bear. Waving to you from the top of the Space Noodle in the Emerald City. Oh, God, I just left more breadcrumbs from my future doxers. Who cares? People dox me all the time. It's not new. Figure it out, you sleuths. P&W Mama Bear, who I've seen post in a number of places, including on the YouTube video, says, I genuinely hope you go enjoy yourself and feel better. Well, that's his thing. That's his problem. We don't need to take that on. Some solitude for once in a world where you have to deal with everyone being incorrect except you must be exhausting. It is. And David is such a narcissist. Only he can be right and everyone else is wrong. The guy's, if he's not cluster B, he's damn close. Probably just like his client, but his client is so far off the charts that it's extraordinary. I can't imagine how difficult that must be since we are all so dumb and don't understand a thing. So Alyssa says, those accused who answer questioning with long explanations tend to be guilty. Yeah. The innocent don't see the need for threads of explanations. Marmite says, David, you've never learned anything since taking on Laura. We don't speculate. We watched Laura's trials read every word she has written, and heard every word she's spoken. We've followed all the evidence. No evidence produced from Laura. And the evidence proves Laura is a liar. That's 100%. And of course, I love that one. So I hit the love. We hit the love button because that's a good one. Trish McBride says, David, I truly hope that your ticket takes you to a place where you can reflect on yourself, your actions, and what is really important to you and your family. Stop blaming others for exposing the truth. I truly think you know what that truth is. You just hate to be wrong. Well said, Trish. M. Lou says, due to the ongoing issues with the DIST bar, I'm not sure what we're trying to say there. The Arizona State Bar, perhaps? Are you still able to represent clients, or are you not allowed to practice until all of this is resolved one way or the other? Well, the answer to that is if they suspend his license while they're doing this, that would be true. We don't know. I actually haven't checked David's bar status. I may do that and insert that in here somewhere. I may not, because frankly, I don't care, other than if he does something naughty enough where he gets disbarred. That's what's interesting to me. I'm only interested in the fresh meat. Yes, I will admit it. All the other stuff is just, it's breadcrumbs. Man cannot live by bread alone. We want some fresh meat. Natalie J says, wow, that's a lot. Perhaps time away will help you gain a new perspective, a little humility, and release you from the need of over-explaining in a manner that bores and enrages most people. He is Dewey the Douche Canoe, who's a dick, for good reason. And one of our favorites, Loud Little Ducky. You'll be back in Arizona for court things, aka his DUI court case. You aren't leaving for good. Too bad you aren't stepping away from the law completely. Well, that may come in time, Loud Little Ducky. We'll have to wait and see. It's not going to be good for him, that's for sure. When judges file things about conduct to the bar, that's not going to be something that's just ignored by the bar. Especially when that is compounded by, what was it, nearly a dozen other complaints about David to the bar? It's a lot. Let's see, is there anything good in the probable spam folder? Is there anything good? Fluffy Kitty says, sounds like a lot of tough talk, hoping for a deal from a guy who knows his goose is cooked. It might be more than his goose. It might be his law license. No way you depose Mata. That's true. That's very accurate. You don't just go around deposing judges because you have bar complaints you have to answer for. It doesn't work that way. And he knows that, but he's going to say that to piss people off because he's a dick. Never going to happen. Discipline proceedings are not civil lawsuits. You don't get to say unfounded wild shit and then post hawk invade privacy hoping for a sliver of justification. Not quite sure what post hawk invade privacy. I don't know. We know what they're getting at. Thank you, Fluffy Kitty. And, to be quite honest, I do like fluffy kitties. I wish I had one. I have to live vicariously through other people's fluffy kitties, including a black and white kitty owned by David Gingras named Aurora. It's kind of a cute name, too. He should be more like his cat. Really. We won't talk about his weight loss things. It's rather ironic how Laura is thin as an anorexic toothpick, and David's starting to get rather quickly skinny on his own. There may be some extra things involved in accelerating weight loss. It's, go figure. We have our speculations. I have mine. I'm not going to talk about them too much because, quite frankly, I don't care if he's going to go on an Ozempic diet or an HCG diet or whatever the hell he's doing. Maybe recommended by fitness guru and anorexic, or at least self-claimed anorexic. Laura claimed to have anorexia nervosa lately. Most recently, we covered that. If David's going to do the same thing because she's supposedly a fitness guru, right? Yeah, maybe. Or at least she thinks she was. Oh, let's see. Julie Dominica Hunt says, not speculating, but sounds like manipulation from your early age when you were trying to pimp your underage girlfriend. Yes, we talk about that too. Can you comment on how being such a young man, you were so corrupted already? Boy, that was hard to read in my brain for some reason. For those of you who know for a while, and we have talked about, in a multitude of videos. They've been sort of passing references. I did cover some of that in an earlier video. I forget which one, because after I do them, I kind of forget what I've done. I have to go back and look at things a lot. Just like, oh yeah, I did talk about that. Or no, I didn't talk about that. It's just how the brain works when I do creative endeavors such as this. I do consider this a creative endeavor. I get to use some of my production skills and equipment that I wouldn't otherwise use for very much lately. But with my creative things, once they're done, once they're in the can, they're out of my head and I don't think about them. So when I need to recall something, I tend to have to go back, which is why paying attention to the story just sort of generally on a high level is something I try and do, just to try and keep track of things I have sort of covered and keep moving forward with current stuff, unless I'm doing a Wayback Machine type thing where we're looking into people's past, because, as you may know, for those of you who study psychology on any sort of passing level, our past can inform our future, as does those who influence how we behave, how we think, things like that. So it's important, folks. Teach your kids well. Careful the things you say, children will listen. That's Stephen Sondheim in one of his more brilliant philosophical lessons in a musical. That comes from Into the Woods. Yes, I'm showing my gay card, just for a moment. Let's see, any other good comments in this thread? Yo Mama says, if you don't want people to speculate, how about not mentioning it? The fact that you did when no one asks, and really no one cares, shows your thirst for attention. Yes, that's very true. He is quite the attention whore. Huge ass. I love it. Huge ass. Yes, we're back to middle school names. Hi, David. When is your flight? I wonder if the FAA is doing better. I hear there were some problems there. Wouldn't that be a shame? Anyway, have a great summer. Ooh, that's a little bit spicy there. No, we don't want David to fall out of the sky. I want him to face the music. I want him to face the music in the court system, in the criminal court system, and with the bar. I want him to be held accountable for everything he has done stupidly, and he should know better because he's been practicing for a while. What is that phrase they use? Can or should know, I think is often the legal phrase used. B. Stillwater says, I'm just happy you're flying instead of driving. Yes, we are too. Well, I don't think he can for a little while. I would suspect his license is suspended. I would have to look that up. Your wet-brained ass has put too many lives in danger on the road already. Absolutely true. David claims he was not at Laura's, but he was just in the area taking a friend somewhere. But he was drunk, and it was around the same time as writing all of that stuff for Laura's DVRO. So is he lying? Maybe. We could find ways of proving things. You know, all we have to do, we, the royal we, it would be a court case. It would have to be found in a court. There would have to be some discovery. Just like Laura's devices, David's devices would have to be confiscated. Communications would have to be seized. All those kinds of things. Also, cell phone location data to see what his routes were. If he was at Laura's, it would be very easy to prove, unless he forgot his phone one day. No, I'm not suggesting how you go about doing things. Not at all. Yo Mama says, what great quotes. Love this for you. Ron Owens' daughter loses court bid in pregnancy scandal. Must pay $200,000. So, reposting from Mercury News. Let's see, what else do we have here? Anything else good? Jesse B says, I thought you had to stay in case you had to write the 20-page response or whatever. More from Yo Mama. And the fairy godmother. Oh, which one of the... is that Winifred? The blue fairy? Oh, gosh, I can't remember my Disney trivia so much. David, I think you could use my help. Yes, David could use a fairy godmother to bibbidi-bobbidi-boo his problems away. But they aren't going away. Dewey the douche canoe has to face the charges. He has to face the music, and he's going to have to face the music of the bar. Let's see, is there anything else worth looking at from him? Let's just take a peek here. There's some reposts. This is all about some of that stuff that's not so interesting. Oh, he talks about his weight loss, August 19. I don't really care. He says he's not using any drugs or BS. I'm not sure I believe him. There's not much he can say to me that I would think is truthful without actually having to do work and researching it. Judge Judy said it best as I continue to scroll around, and we talk about his failings. Judge Judy said it best. How do I know you're lying? Your lips are moving. Or in this case, not only is it David's lips, it's also his fingers on a keyboard. He whines that the Supreme Court didn't issue things for him, And let's see, let's just keep going up. Let's keep going up. This looks like a big long thread for something. Did we cover this one already? Yes, we did. We talked about August 20th, so let's just keep going up. He talks about anti-slap stuff. He's got other silly postings. Yes, so that's the highlights. I think there was more. It seems to me there was more. He was sort of lamenting not winning with the Supreme Court for Laura. I remember seeing the post about the boat, but there's not much there anymore. He may have removed some stuff after mulling it over, and it didn't help him any because it reveals too much about what's going on in his finances, especially since his former client's family and his former client, because again, I think their finances are very entangled. Laura is a dependent. She has been claimed such on some of the paperwork. The family Owens is bankrupt, and David is probably not in great financial straits himself, facing his own problems with the bar and with a DUI case. So there we go. All right. That wasn't quite as entertaining as I was hoping. Maybe if I had a co-host, we could dig into more stuff and roast David some more because, well, he looks like a good garlic guy. I think he likes lots of garlic, and what better to do with garlic than have it nice and roasted? So that's it. That's enough for today. We've dribbled over for about an hour. Let's finish off our Sunday with some other fun stuff. And until the next news comes in, we'll see you next time, folks. Thanks for joining me. Please make sure to hit that like, subscribe, and notification button. It helps us out here on this end. It also keeps you informed for when we actually talk about things. I think some others, I think Megan said she was going to talk about some of these Twitter rantings and ravings and ramblings. So Megan is so funny. Maybe she'll bring Tug on. They're hysterical. Megan and Tug are hysterical. I love watching them just for the entertainment factor. Never mind the learning. We do learn about things they're covering, but they're hysterical and they're entertaining as hell. Even if they don't get to what they're trying to talk about, I just love watching them. I'm not butt kissing. It's honesty. It really is. Maybe it is. Maybe it is just a little bit of butt kissing, but they're good. They're professionals. We're professional. All right, folks, let's get out of here. Until next time. And again, if you want to send me stuff, the emails are open. Be careful. Be careful about using my email. Send me stuff you think I might find interesting. If there are other stories you'd like me to talk about, other stories, other court cases you'd like me to cover, drop me a line. Drop us a line in the comments. Drop us a line in the email. Or even on Twitter. All of those things, all of those means of communicating with me. Mostly directly. Somewhat indirectly, if I'm being honest. Never mind. Those things are available to you for your use and for my learning and edification. But use them wisely. Okay, peoples. Till next time.
Yeah. Started with a loss in court. Ended with the law in the mirror. Gingras, you fucked up, counselor. DG rolled in, acting like he had the plan, but he fucked up the case, real talk, goddamn. Tried to ride for Laura, came out weak. Now she facing 7 felonies, charges deep. That ain't defense, that's a wreck in disguise. Turned a civil fight to criminal ties. What an old courtroom king, just a dude who missed. Dropped the ball, left her stuck in a twist. Hey, DG, fuck your grace. Fast lane drunk, now you caught that case. From courtroom pride to flashing blue lights. You knew the law, but you lost that fight. Back in 08, bar said sit the fuck down. 30 days off, barely made a sound. Probation too, yeah you wore that leash. Still strutting like your name had reach. But demons don't sleep, and neither did you. July 9, you crashed, DUI came through. Now it's all on blast, your record, your name. Arizona State got receipts on your shame. From bar fights to breathe test, you fell from your own steps. Clean caught felonies now, so are you. Karma don't knock, it just drives through. DG, fuck your grace. Fast lane drunk, now you caught that case. From courtroom pride to flashing blue lights. You knew the law, but you lost that fight. You ain't the counsel now, you the fucking warning. 30 days off wasn't the fix. You lost that case. You lost that will. Now you're just another file.